Good morning and welcome to Ark and Dove Presbyterian Church in Odenton, Maryland. Welcome to The Lobby, the weekly program about the life and ministry of the church. So I'm Brian Boudreaux, the clerk of session here at Ark and Dove and your host, and I am on location in Chicago. So that's why you don't see me in the lobby itself. Now, today is the second Sunday of Christmas, and it is now 2022. So Happy New Year to everybody. And in a little bit, I'll be talking to Pastor Tim about what he thought of 2021. So kids will be back in school tomorrow and life will be returning to normal or not. As you're probably aware, the Omicron variant of the coronavirus has led to a massive positivity rate in Anne Arundel County. So as such, the county executive has issued some new guidance, and to that end, Ark and Dove is making some changes to our in-person meetings for the month of January. So for the next 2 weeks, we will suspend the 9 o'clock service and we'll only have a 10:30 service that will be available via live stream and the YouTube channel and Facebook Live. So we are asking folks to attend virtually for the next 2 weeks then. That's today, the 2nd, and next week, the 9th, and then we'll reevaluate after that. You can watch the live stream service, like I said, live, or it's also recorded and available anytime during the week. As a result, Sunday school and godly play will not take place during the 10:30 service either. Now, we don't know what's in store for January, so we encourage you to check out the webpage regularly. For now, we are planning for Logos to begin again on January 11th. And a reminder that Logos is every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. and it's for kids pre-K through 5th grade. And Julie Devers and Jen Roman can get you signed up for that. We also have youth group for middle school and high school, so watch for the emails for that and when they'll meet next. But that's okay, even though we can't meet in person, we have lots of virtual activities for everybody. So tomorrow, Monday, January 3rd at 7:30 p.m., there will be a discussion of Austin Hartkey's book, Transforming the Bible and the Lives of Transgender Christians. So Hartkey is an Old Testament seminary scholar, and he interweaves stories all through biblical characters with real life narratives. So if you're interested in attending this, please contact Amy Tardif for the Zoom invitation. The Ark and Dove Book Club selection for January is called Out: Why I Traded 2 Dream Jobs for a Life of True Calling by Paula Ferris, and Amanda Cross will be facilitating this discussion group on January 14th at 7:30 p.m. You can email Kim Champagne to get more information about the club and for the Zoom invitation. Now, there is an Epiphany book study that looks really interesting. It's Nice Racism. Now, what is Nice Racism? It sounds like an odd title for a book, but I think we're looking at sort of the well-intentioned progressives and how they unwittingly perpetuate racism in our country. So Paula Sparks and Pastor Tim will be leading that. It's Nice Racism, written by Robin DiAngelo. This will occur over 6 weeks on Tuesday evenings, starting on January 11th at 7 p.m. So if you're interested, please reach out to Pastor Tim or to Paula Sparks to get a Zoom invitation. Now, this week on The Lobby, I have asked Pastor Tim to join us. It's been a long time since he's been on The Lobby, so welcome, Pastor Tim, and Happy New Year.
Good to be here.
Now, it's been quite a year, hasn't it?
Oh boy.
So it feels like so much has changed, and yet heading into 2022, a lot feels the same. I feel like we are going back into what the beginning of 2021 felt like. So how would you rate 2021?
A roller coaster ride? I can't just look at 2021. Let me just say the last 20 months have been the most challenging years in ministry for me. And my colleagues, I don't know one colleague that doesn't agree with me.
Yeah,
it's really something. So
I imagine with pastors as well as mental health folks who also do care for people, that a lot of people are finding that right now there's a great need for care. And the past 20 months, and it doesn't seem to be letting up. We thought we might be coming out of it, but the uncertainty. And can you talk a little bit about like that feeling of uncertainty that people have, and how do you deal with that?
I think I said in church on Christmas Eve that I don't know one family in our church or one individual that has not been seriously affected by this pandemic. But one thing I really appreciate is how Ark and Dove has really come together as a community and supported each other. Now, I'm sure some people have fallen through the cracks, but I know that our deacons and our elders have gone out of their way to stay in touch with their people and just check in. Working with this session and working with this board of deacons, that's been a highlight. They talk things out thoughtfully. They listen to each other. They support each other on both boards, and they're working very hard to provide ministry opportunities in now a hybrid situation, or a back and forth and up and down situation. And they did that all during live stream, Zoom only worship and meetings.
Right. And there's been a constant sort of change, right? I mean, we started off the year as everything was hybrid, and then we started bringing more back in person. So there has been a change, and people have had to be creative in ensuring that. Looking back on 2021, as we were saying, we had some highlights, but anything that sticks out to you that Ark and Dove did differently that you really liked?
The biggest highlight of the year was when we went from not hybrid to hybrid, when we had actually people in the sanctuary, and everyone there was like, oh yeah, I forgot how meaningful it is to actually sit and worship with people in a sanctuary.
Yeah.
At the same time, those first 4 weeks, people were saying, oh, this is the biggest crowd I've been around in a long time. So it was a mixture, but that getting back to in-person worship was a highlight. And I figured, judging by what I've been reading in the Washington Post and the New York Times, is maybe February we'll start building up on in-person worship again.
One of the things I think we've learned over the last 20 months is you kind of have to take it step by step, and you can't. On one hand, you have to plan for the future, and on the other hand, you can't plan too much. You have to be flexible to change. Yeah. So what about over the last year, sort of some of the challenges, some of the challenges maybe you didn't expect you had to face or would be facing?
The biggest challenge was just thinking through the ramifications of every decision we made every time we made a change. Some session meetings were longer as we looked at all the variables in order to make the most faithful decision for Ark and Dove. So, but it was such a great session. I felt good just about every meeting that we'd done it exactly right, and I appreciate the leadership we have at Ark and Dove.
Yeah, that was one of the things I should note about sitting in those session meetings is everybody coming in and wanting to do what is the best thing for the church, and looking at every angle and trying to play out like, okay, if we let more people into the sanctuary, what does that mean? And sort of in-person gatherings, and even what might seem like a small change, thinking about the larger implications of that. For example, I think of just having fellowship after church, right? Like that was a discussion.
Right. So far, we've had a very warm autumn and beginning to winter, so fellowship outside is no big deal. Just pop on your coat and step out the door.
Now at Ark and Dove, we have quite a new number of families, and I would add that that's a highlight too, to see all the new folks at Ark and Dove, and so I just want to
it's been a joy. Some of these people, were checking us out, quietly, not necessarily signing in, and make sure we are what we say we are. And it's been a joy to get to know them. I think so. We've had 2 full new members classes come on board, where the new members class was Zoom, and that's been interesting, and it speaks about the community that you can establish even though you're not physically present with other people, and so we've done that, and we have grown during COVID. I mean, can you believe it?
Right. And a lot of churches have struggled through this pandemic, and so Ark and Dove has been an exception to that.
I read about churches that are divided over certain issues around COVID, and it really has taken its toll on pastors and elders and other church leaders and other denominations. I'm glad that we have not experienced any of that.
So for those new members of the church, they may not know you very well. So I thought maybe you might want to take this as an opportunity to sort of, maybe share something that they might not know about you. I mean, I automatically think about that you're quite the gardener.
The first order that for seeds is about getting tomatoes. And there's some new varieties out there that are, I don't do any genetically engineered plants, only hybrids and heirlooms. So January is always order the seeds. And so Brian, tell me, this is just one of my boxes of seeds, you see. Got to keep them tight so they last a long time. And it's my tradition to start parsley on New Year's Day.
Is that tradition, or is that a tradition you created?
Oh, it's just our family tradition. Yeah. Well, if you want to put parsley in the ground in April or late March, you better plant it in January. You're not going to have it because they take a long time to germinate.
So going into 2022, what are you looking forward to? Are you a resolutions guy? Do you have any resolutions?
I'm not a big resolutions guy. I mean, I want to maintain exercising 5 times a week. I managed to do that just about every week during 2021. So if I can keep that going, that's a good resolution. Mostly I ride my bike. Keeps you from getting bored. Yes.
Very nice. What about for the church? What would you like to see in 2022 for Ark and Dove?
We need to continue our journey of being radically welcoming congregation. We need to be aware of the fact that West County has changed a lot in the past 10 years. It's much more racially diverse. And so we need to keep up our work on anti-racism. And now we are beginning exploring what it means to be a multicultural congregation. Not only do we have more African Americans, we have more Africans, African immigrants who are in our congregation, and they bring a richness of their traditions to our church. And who else do we need to invite? We are open and affirming towards the LGBTQIA community, and I think that's an important ministry. So many of these people are suffering, and we're creating a place of welcome and safety for them. Keep on those directions. I think that's going to be important. It could be that West County would even change more demographically, and so if we don't change with it, we will become a smaller church. And isn't the beloved community multiracial, multi-ethnic?
That's right. Our next big gathering, I guess, is January 30th. We have the annual congregational meeting. So that's Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Right now it's planned for a hybrid, and we'll see
how many people are in the sanctuary. Well, it may only be a few, but last year we did it by Zoom, and it was a great meeting. People, raised their hand, spoke, and we celebrated our ministry events, the things we did well, and we'll do that again this year. Now, all right, so at the annual meeting, why is it so important? One, at an annual meeting, it's the only congregational meeting during the year where you can ask any question you want. See, if you have a special meeting, you got to keep the business to the special items, the reason that you called the meeting. So it's a time for ideas to be shared. And it's a time to elect our church officers. We're going to elect 4 new deacons and 2 new elders, because in the Presbyterian Church, we elect our leaders. They're not appointed by a bishop. We call them into a ministry. And I was talking to some of our incoming deacons the other day, and I said, when you become a deacon or an elder, you answer the same ordination questions that a minister does, except the last one. And they were like, oh. So we, in the Presbyterian and Reformed tradition, we believe in strongly in lay leadership. And in this church, we rely on our lay leaders.
And once you're a deacon or an elder, you're always a deacon and elder. So
yeah, you may not be on the board, but you always maintain the ordained status. And there are times when we need hands on the deck, and we call our officers who are not currently serving on the board, and they, from the experience they had from serving, they know what to do.
Well, Pastor Tim, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and it's been too long. So you're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and enjoy worship.
So, and to everyone else tuning in, thank you for joining me this week, as you do every week. And more details about everything we talked about can be found in the archive that you get in your weekly email, or on the webpage. Just a couple clicks and you can read all about everything that we're doing. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Stay safe, get your booster, get tested if you need to get tested, and have a great week. The live stream service will begin in a moment.